My sister-in-law snooped in my room and stole my late grandma's precious necklace, then lied to everyone about it. Now my husband won't back me up and his family's mad at me for calling her out. I've been sitting on this for a couple days now, trying to figure out if I'm blowing things out of proportion or if I'm actually justified in being pissed off. I'm still fuming, and honestly, I just need to get this off my chest. I figured dumping it here on Reddit might help me sort through the mess in my head. Here's what happened. Bear with me, because it's a lot. I'm 32, been married to my husband, Caleb, for 5 years now. Caleb is 37, super chill most of the time, the kind of guy who'd rather crack a beer and watch football than deal with any drama. We've got a decent life, nice little house, no kids yet, just a dog named Buster who's basically our kid. Things have been pretty solid between us, except when it comes to his family. Specifically, his sister, Nora. Nora's 29, and she's complicated. She's got this bubbly, charming thing going on that makes people like her at first, but if you pay attention, you'll catch the little digs she throws out. She's been weird with me ever since Caleb and I got together. Like, back when we were dating, she'd make these snide comments about how I lucked out with him or how I must have tricked him into proposing. I brushed it off because Caleb swore she was just joking, but it's always felt personal. She's got this vibe like she's secretly mad I'm in the picture, taking her brother away or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Anyway, the thing that kicked all this off happened last weekend. I've got this necklace. It's not crazy expensive, but it's special. My grandma gave it to me before she passed a couple years ago. It's gold, with this little sapphire pendant, nothing flashy, but it's the one thing I have left from her. I don't wear it every day because I'm terrified of losing it, so I keep it in a little jewelry box on my dresser. Caleb knows how much it means to me. He was there when I bawled my eyes out after Grandma died. Point is, it's not just some random trinket. Last Saturday, we had people over. Nothing big, just a casual hangout. Caleb's parents, Nora, and our friend Lydia who's known the family forever. I'd been running around all day getting stuff ready, cooking chili, making sure Buster didn't eat the chips off the coffee table. Everyone showed up around 6, and it was fine at first. Nora was her usual self, laughing too loud, hogging the conversation, dropping little comments like, "Oh, you're so fancy with this spread, huh?" I ignored it. Caleb's mom was there too, hovering like she does, asking why we haven't started on kids yet. Typical family stuff. At some point, I went upstairs to grab my phone charger from the bedroom. I walked in, and there's Nora, standing by my dresser, messing with my jewelry box. I froze for a second because, what the hell? She looked up, saw me, and immediately started rambling about how she was just looking and thought it was so pretty. I didn't buy it. Her hands were in the box, and she had this guilty look, like a kid caught sneaking cookies. I asked her what she was doing, and she laughed it off, saying she was admiring my taste. Then she bolted downstairs like nothing happened. I checked the box right after she left. The necklace was gone. My stomach dropped. I tore through the whole thing. Earrings, random bracelets, that cheap ring I got at a flea market. Nothing else was missing, just the necklace. I sat there for a minute, trying to calm down, telling myself maybe I'd misplaced it. But I knew I hadn't. I'd seen it in there 2 days before when I was cleaning. It didn't just vanish. I went downstairs, trying to keep it together, and pulled Nora aside by the kitchen. I asked her straight up if she took it. She got all wide-eyed and offended, like, "Are you seriously accusing me? I'd never do that." Her voice went up an octave, and she started going on about how hurt she was that I'd even think that. Caleb overheard and came over, asking what was going on. I told him the necklace was missing and that Nora was in our room messing with my stuff. He looked at her, then at me, and I could see the gears turning. He didn't want to pick a side. Nora doubled down, saying I was paranoid and making a scene. Then she stormed off to the living room, where Caleb's mom was sitting. Next thing I know, his mom's marching over, telling me I need to calm down and stop picking fights with family. She went into this whole speech about how Nora's been going through a rough patch, and I should be more understanding. Apparently, Nora lost her job a few months back and has been stressing about money, but I didn't see how that gave her a free pass to snoop in my room. Caleb pulled me aside after that and asked if I was sure I didn't just lose it. I wanted to scream. I told him I saw her with her hands in the box, and the necklace was gone right after. He sighed, rubbed his face, and said, "She wouldn't steal from you. She's not like that." I asked him to at least back me up and help me figure out where it went, but he just kept saying, "Let's not ruin the night over this." I felt like I was talking to a wall. The rest of the night was awful. I couldn't even look at Nora without wanting to shake her. She acted like nothing happened, chatting with Lydia, laughing at some dumb joke Caleb's dad made. I kept my mouth shut because I didn't want to blow up in front of everyone, but I was boiling inside. After they all left, I searched the bedroom again, under the dresser, in the drawers, even the freaking laundry basket. Nothing. Caleb watched me tearing the place apart and finally said, "If it's that big a deal, I'll ask her tomorrow." But the way he said it, like I was overreacting, pissed me off even more. Sunday morning, I couldn't let it go. I told Caleb I was going over to Nora's place to confront her. He freaked out, saying I'd make it worse, but I was done waiting for him to grow a spine. I drove over to her apartment. It's this cramped little one-bedroom about 20 minutes away. She answered the door in sweatpants, looking annoyed, like I was the one bothering her. I didn't waste time. I said, "I know you took the necklace. Just give it back, and we can forget this happened." She rolled her eyes and tried to shut the door, but I stuck my foot in and told her I wasn't leaving until she stopped lying. That's when she flipped. She started yelling about how I've always had it out for her and how I think I'm better than everyone. I yelled back that I didn't care about her pity party. I just wanted my necklace. It got ugly fast. She said something about how I don't even deserve the stuff I have, and that's when I knew. This wasn't just about money. She's been holding some grudge against me for years. Caleb showed up about 10 minutes later. He'd followed me after I stormed out. He tried to play peacemaker, telling us both to chill out, but I was too far gone. I told him if he wasn't going to help me, he could stay out of it. Nora smirked, like she knew he'd take her side, and that set me off even more. I told her I'd call the cops if I had to. That's when she slammed the door in my face. On the drive home, Caleb barely said a word. When we got back, he finally mumbled something about how I shouldn't have escalated it like that. I lost it. I asked him why he kept defending her when she obviously took something that wasn't hers. He said he didn't want to lose his sister over this, and I just stared at him. What about me? Didn't he care that I'd lost something irreplaceable? We ended up sleeping in separate rooms that night. Him on the couch, me in bed with Buster whining at the door. Monday, I was still a wreck. I called Lydia, figuring she might have seen something at the party. Big mistake. She said she didn't notice anything, but then launched into this whole thing about how I shouldn't air family drama like that. She'd already talked to Nora, who told her I'd attacked her over some cheap jewelry. I corrected her. It's not cheap, it's sentimental, but Lydia just said I needed to let it go and not make Nora the bad guy. I hung up feeling like I'd been punched. How was I the one in the wrong here? Tuesday, I decided to search one more time. I'd been too mad to think straight before, so I went through everything. The guest room, the bathroom, even the kitchen cabinets. Nothing. But then I remembered something. At the party, Nora had gone to the bathroom with her purse, a big, ugly tote bag she's always lugging around. What if she'd stashed it in there? I couldn't prove it, but it made sense. She'd had plenty of time to slip it out of the box and hide it before I caught her. I called Caleb at work and told him my theory. He groaned, like I was exhausting him, and said, if she took it, why would she keep it in her purse? She's not dumb. I snapped back that she wasn't exactly a master criminal either. She'd been dumb enough to get caught red-handed. He said he'd talk to her again, but I could tell he didn't want to. I hung up and sat there, staring at Buster, wondering how my life turned into this soap opera. That night, Caleb came home and said he'd called Nora. She swore up and down she didn't take it. And, surprise, she'd cried to their mom about me harassing her. Now his mom was texting me, saying I needed to stop this nonsense and think about family. I showed Caleb the texts, hoping he'd finally get it, but he just shrugged and said, they're upset. Give it time. I asked him point blank if he cared more about them than me. He didn't answer, just grabbed a beer and went to the garage. It's been a few days now, and I'm stuck. The necklace is still gone. I can't prove Nora took it, but I know she did. I keep replaying that moment in the bedroom, her hands in my stuff, that fake smile. I've thought about going back to her place, maybe sneaking a look at that purse, but I'd probably get arrested or something. Caleb is barely talking to me, and I'm pretty sure Lydia is spreading crap about me to our other friends. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Part of me wonders if I should have handled it differently. Maybe I shouldn't have gone to her place guns blazing. Maybe I should have let Caleb deal with it, even if he's useless about it. But then I think about Grandma, how she gave me that necklace with shaky hands and told me to keep it close. It's not about the money, it's about what it meant. Nora didn't just take a thing, she took a piece of me. And now I'm the one everyone's mad at. I don't know. I'm sitting here with Buster snoring next to me, feeling like the whole world's against me. Caleb is still in the garage, probably avoiding me. I keep asking myself if I'm the jerk here. Am I overreacting? Should I just drop it and move on? Or am I right to fight for what's mine, even if it's tearing everything apart? I'd love some outside perspective because I'm too deep in this mess to see straight. Update. This is what has happened since then. Alright, so it's been about 9 months since everything went down with Nora and that necklace, and I figured I'd come back here with an update because, wow, things have gotten wild. I wasn't sure if I'd ever post again after spilling my guts last time, but so much has happened, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it all. Buckle up, because this is a ride. After that whole mess, things didn't just magically get better. Caleb and I were barely speaking for weeks. I was still furious about the necklace, and he was still doing his let's not rock the boat thing. I couldn't let it go, though, not because I'm stubborn, okay, maybe a little, but because it felt like no one cared that I'd been wronged. Nora was out there living her life, probably twirling my necklace around her finger, while I was stuck feeling like the bad guy for calling her out. About a month after the blow-up, I hit my limit with Caleb. We had this huge fight. Plates didn't get smashed or anything, but it was loud. I told him I couldn't keep pretending everything was fine when he wouldn't even try to back me up. He finally admitted he didn't want to believe Nora stole it because it'd mean admitting his sister's a liar, and that'd break his whole happy family bubble. I get that, sort of, but I told him I needed him to pick a side, mine, or we were done. He didn't say much after that, just grabbed his keys and left for a few hours. When he came back, he said he'd talk to Nora one more time, but I could tell his heart wasn't in it. He called her the next day, and surprise, she stuck to her story. Said I was obsessed with her and making stuff up. Caleb came back from that call looking defeated, like he'd tried but knew it was pointless. I asked him what he was going to do about it, and he just shrugged. That shrug was it for me. I told him I needed space, packed a bag, and went to stay with my mom for a couple weeks. Buster came with me. He's my dog, after all. Caleb didn't fight it, which hurt more than I expected. While I was at my mom's, I kept thinking about the necklace. I couldn't shake the image of Nora sneaking it into that ugly tote bag of hers. I know it sounds crazy, but I started wondering if I should have just gone back to her place and demanded to check it myself. My mom talked me out of that. She said I'd end up in jail or worse, and she was probably right. Still, it ate at me. I even dreamed about it one night, Nora laughing while she pawned it off somewhere. Woke up in a cold sweat and couldn't get back to sleep. Caleb texted me a few times while I was gone, mostly stuff like, "Can we talk?" or "Buster okay?" I didn't respond much, just short answers to keep it civil. After 2 weeks, I went back home because I missed my own bed, and honestly, I didn't want to give up on us yet. When I walked in, Caleb was sitting on the couch, looking like he hadn't slept in days. He apologized, not just for the necklace thing, but for shutting down on me. Said he'd been talking to his dad about it, and his dad told him he was being a coward. That surprised me. His dad's usually quiet, doesn't get involved. Caleb promised he'd try harder, and I figured I'd give him a chance. We weren't fixed, but it was a start. Things with Nora, though? That's where it gets nuts. Around 3 months after the original fight, Caleb's mom called me out of the blue. She'd been radio silent since texting me to stop the nonsense, so I almost didn't pick up. When I did, she was crying, full-on sobbing. She said Nora had gotten caught stealing from her. Yeah, you heard that right. Apparently, Nora had swiped a wad of cash from her mom's purse during a family dinner. Caleb's mom found out because she saw Nora spending way more than she should have. New clothes, fancy dinners, stuff she couldn't afford with no job. When she confronted her, Nora broke down and admitted it. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to scream. I told you so. But she was so wrecked I just listened. She kept saying she didn't know how Nora turned out like this, and then she apologized to me. Said she should have believed me about the necklace, and that she felt awful for taking Nora's side. I wasn't expecting that. I told her it was fine, even though it wasn't, because what else do you say? She asked if I'd come over to talk more, and I said I'd think about it. After I hung up, I just sat there, stunned. Vindication felt good, but it didn't bring the necklace back. Caleb was floored when I told him. He went quiet for a long time, then said he'd call Nora himself. I didn't stop him. I wanted to hear what she'd say. He put it on speaker, and oh man, it was a train wreck. Nora tried to play it off at first, saying their mom was exaggerating. But when Caleb pushed, she flipped out. Started yelling about how everyone's against her, how she's always the villain. Then she let slip something that made my blood run cold. She said, "Maybe if you didn't flaunt your perfect life, I wouldn't have to take what I deserve." Caleb asked her what that meant, and she hung up. We just stared at each other. It wasn't a confession, but it was damn close. After that, Caleb cut her off. Said he was done making excuses for her. His mom did too. She told us she's not letting Nora in the house anymore until she gets her act together. It's been weird seeing Caleb finally stand up to her, but I think it's been brewing for a while. He's still torn up about it. Keeps saying he should have seen the signs sooner. I don't blame him as much anymore. Nora's good at hiding who she really is. So, that's where we're at now, 9 months later. Caleb and I are better, I guess. Not perfect. We've had to talk a lot, and it's been rough. He's trying, though, and I can see it. We're even thinking about getting a security camera for the house, half joking that we don't want any more surprise visitors. His mom's been nicer to me, which is a miracle. She even invited us over for Thanksgiving, and I said yes, mostly because I don't want to cook. But here's the new problem, and this is where it gets messy again. A couple weeks ago, Caleb got a call from the police. Yeah, the actual cops. Turns out Nora's in some serious trouble. They caught her trying to sell stolen stuff at a pawn shop. Not just random junk, but jewelry and electronics she'd lifted from who knows where. The guy at the shop got suspicious and called it in. She's out on bail now, but they're still investigating, and Caleb got dragged into it because she listed him as her emergency contact. They asked if we'd had anything go missing, and he told them about my necklace. Now they want me to come in and give a statement. I'm freaking out. On one hand, this could be my chance to nail her for what she did. If they find that necklace, or proof she sold it, I'd finally get some closure. But on the other hand, it's opening this whole can of worms again. Caleb is a mess. He's worried she's going to jail, and I get it. She's his sister. But I'm still mad. I don't want to deal with cops and statements, and maybe even court. What if she spins it back on me, says I'm lying out of spite? She's slippery like that. And what if they don't find anything, and I look like the crazy one all over again? I don't know what to do. Caleb says he'll support me if I go to the police, but I can tell he's scared. His mom's begging me not to make it worse, saying Nora's already in deep enough. I feel like I'm stuck between doing what's right for me and keeping the peace with them. It's exhausting. All I wanted was my necklace back, and now I'm in the middle of some crime drama. So yeah, that's the update. I'm sitting here with Buster, wondering how my life got this complicated. Am I wrong for wanting to push this with the cops? Should I just let it go and hope Nora digs her own grave? I'd kill for some advice because I'm lost.
Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss our daily updates.